By 7 in the morning, my mother was standing in my driveway, arms crossed, face twisted in anger, screaming loud enough that my neighbors came to their windows. I live in a quiet townhouse in Charlotte where most people mind their own business, but that morning, everyone heard her calling me selfish, ungrateful, a liar who was tearing the family apart. My daughter Emma was still asleep upstairs. My husband Derek had already left for his shift at the hospital. It was just me, the front door between us, and the sound of my mother's voice cracking with rage. 3 weeks earlier, everything had seemed fine. Fine in the way things are fine when you've learned not to expect much. It was mid-October, and Emma's 8th birthday was coming up on November 3rd. She'd been talking about it for months, planning every detail: purple balloons, a unicorn cake, her friends from school, and her grandmother. Emma adored my mother. She didn't see what I saw. She didn't know what I knew. On October 15th, my mother called. I was folding laundry in the living room when my phone buzzed. I almost didn't answer. There's a specific kind of dread that comes with seeing your mother's name on the screen when you know she only calls when she needs something or wants to complain about something. But I picked up. "Hi, Mom." "Sweetheart, I need to talk to you about Emma's birthday." I paused mid-fold, a tiny purple shirt in my hands. "Okay, what about it?" "Your father and I won't be able to make it this year. Things are just really tight right now, and we can't afford the gas to drive down. You know how it is." I didn't say anything for a moment. Charlotte to Greensboro is an hour and a half, maybe $20 in gas. But I'd learned a long time ago not to question my mother's reasons. It never ended well. "That's okay, Mom," I said, keeping my voice even. "I understand. We'll miss you, but Emma will understand. I knew you'd be reasonable about it. You're such a good daughter. I'll send her a card." We hung up. I stood there holding Emma's shirt, staring at nothing. My husband came in a few minutes later and found me like that. "You all right?" "My parents aren't coming to Emma's birthday." He sighed. Derek knew. He'd seen this pattern for the 7 years we'd been married. "Let me guess. Some excuse?" "Money's tight, apparently." He put his hand on my shoulder. "Emma's going to notice." "I know." That night, I told Emma. She was sitting at the kitchen table doing homework, her blonde hair pulled back in a ponytail, her face so focused on her math problems. When I said Grandma and Grandpa couldn't make it, she looked up at me with those wide blue eyes. "Why not?" "They're having a hard time right now, sweetie, but they love you very much." She nodded slowly, looking back down at her paper. Then, so quietly I almost didn't hear it, she said, "They didn't come last year either." My chest tightened. "I know, baby." "But they went to Aunt Melissa's house for Ryan's birthday. I saw the pictures." I didn't have an answer for that, because she was right. My sister Melissa, 2 years younger than me, lived in Greensboro, 15 minutes from my parents. Her son Ryan had turned 6 in September, and my mother had posted at least 30 photos from his party. She'd made a 3-tier Superman cake from scratch. She'd decorated their entire backyard. She'd worn a custom t-shirt that said, "Best Grandma Ever." "That's different, honey. They live closer." Emma didn't say anything else. She went back to her homework. But I could see it in the way her shoulders curved forward, the way she pressed her pencil too hard against the paper. She was 8 years old, and she was already learning what I'd learned at her age, that love in our family wasn't equal, that some people mattered more than others. The next 2 weeks passed normally. I ordered the unicorn cake from the bakery. I bought purple streamers and balloons. I wrapped presents. I invited Emma's friends from school. I did everything I was supposed to do, and I tried not to think about the fact that my parents, who lived 90 minutes away, couldn't be bothered to show up for their granddaughter's birthday. But my sister, who lived in the same town as them, would have them at every single event for her kids. It had always been this way. Growing up, Melissa was the easy one, the pretty one, the one who never talked back or caused problems. I was the one who asked too many questions, who got angry when things weren't fair, who challenged my parents when they were wrong. By the time I was 13, I'd learned to be quiet. By the time I was 16, I'd learned not to expect anything. By the time I moved to Charlotte at 23, I'd learned that distance didn't make them miss me. It just made it easier for them to forget I existed. But I'd convinced myself it would be different with Emma, that they'd love her enough to try, that being a grandparent would soften them. I was wrong. Emma's birthday was on a Saturday. We had the party in our backyard. 12 kids running around, screaming, laughing, destroying the lawn. The unicorn cake was perfect. Emma's face when she saw it, when all her friends sang to her, when she blew out the candles, that was everything. Derek grilled hot dogs. I poured juice boxes. For a few hours, it was exactly what a child's birthday should be. But I saw it. The way Emma kept looking at the driveway. The way she'd pause mid-laugh and glance toward the gate, like maybe, just maybe, they'd surprise her. They didn't. That night, after all the guests left, after we'd cleaned up the yard and put Emma to bed, I sat on the couch with my phone. I don't know why I opened Instagram. Maybe I was torturing myself. Maybe some part of me needed to confirm what I already knew. I scrolled past photos of friends, of acquaintances, of people I barely remembered from high school, and then I saw it. My sister's post, posted 4 hours earlier, right in the middle of Emma's party. The photo showed my parents' living room, completely transformed, balloons everywhere, not just a few, hundreds, gold and white covering the ceiling, taped to the walls, filling every corner. A banner that said, "Congratulations, Sarah," in glittering letters. Sarah, my niece, Melissa's daughter, had apparently made the honor roll at her middle school. She was 13. There was a table full of gifts, actual wrapped presents, a cake that my mother had clearly made, decorated with elaborate frosting flowers. In the center of the photo, my mother stood next to Sarah, both of them beaming, my mother's arm around Sarah's shoulders. My father was in the background holding up a sign that said, "Proud Grandpa." The caption. God, the caption. Nothing makes us happier than celebrating our brilliant granddaughter. Sarah, you make us so proud every single day. We're blessed to have you so close. Family is everything. I stared at that post for a long time, at the balloons, at the cake, at my mother's face, so full of joy and pride, at the timestamp, 4 o'clock in the afternoon, right when Emma was opening her presents in our backyard. 90 minutes away, my mother was throwing an elaborate party for Sarah's report card. Derek found me on the couch 20 minutes later, phone still in my hand, screen dark. "Hey, you coming to bed?" I didn't answer right away. Then, "They threw Sarah a party today." He sat down next to me. "Your parents?" I handed him my phone. He scrolled through the photos, his jaw tightening. "Are you kidding me? They couldn't afford gas to come here, but they could afford hundreds of balloons and a party for an honor roll certificate. That's messed up. That's my family." He put his arm around me. "What are you going to do?" I didn't know yet, but something in me had shifted. For years, I'd made excuses for them. They were busy, they were tired, they were older now. They didn't mean to show favoritism. But sitting there, looking at those photos, thinking about Emma's face as she watched the driveway all afternoon, I realized I was done making excuses. "I don't know yet," I said, "but I'm not going to pretend this is okay anymore." The next morning, I woke up with a plan. It wasn't dramatic, it wasn't revenge, it was just truth. I was going to stop protecting them from the consequences of their own choices. I made breakfast for Emma. Pancakes with chocolate chips, her favorite. She seemed okay, bouncing around the kitchen, talking about her party, about the presents her friends gave her. But then, out of nowhere, she said, "Mommy, does Grandma love Sarah more than me?" I put down the spatula, knelt down so I was eye level with her. "No, baby, Grandma loves you." "Then why does she always go to Sarah's stuff but not mine?" I didn't have a good answer. I didn't want to lie to her. But I also didn't want to tell an 8-year-old that sometimes adults are selfish and cruel and that love in families isn't always fair. Sometimes grown-ups make choices that don't make sense, sweetie. But that's about them, not about you. You are wonderful and special, and anyone who doesn't see that is missing out. She hugged me, and I held her tight, and I decided right then that I wasn't going to let my parents keep hurting her, even if it meant they'd be angry. Even if it meant blowing up the fragile peace we'd maintained for years. I waited until Monday. I wanted to be calm, to think clearly, to do this right. Derek had taken Emma to school, and I was alone in the house. I opened my laptop and pulled up my mother's Facebook page. The post about Sarah's party had 63 likes, 17 comments, all from relatives and family friends, all saying how wonderful it was, how sweet my mother was, what a great grandmother she was. I took a screenshot, Then I opened the family group chat. It wasn't a huge group, just my parents, me, Melissa, and our 2 cousins who lived nearby. A small audience, but enough. I typed carefully. I want to share something. This was posted on Saturday, the same day as Emma's 8th birthday party. Mom and Dad told me they couldn't come to Emma's party because money was tight and they couldn't afford gas. Here's what they were actually doing instead. I attached the screenshot. Then I wrote, I'm not angry. I'm just done pretending this is normal. Emma asked me yesterday if Grandma loves Sarah more than her. She's 8 years old, and she's already noticing the pattern that I've tried to ignore for years. I'm not asking for an apology or an explanation. I'm just stating a fact. This is the last time I'll make excuses for why you can't show up for my daughter. I stared at the message for 5 full minutes before I sent it. My finger hovered over the button. I thought about all the years of keeping quiet, of swallowing hurt, of protecting their image, of telling myself it wasn't that bad. Then I thought about Emma's face, and I pressed send. The reaction was immediate. Within 2 minutes, my phone started buzzing. First, my cousin Rachel. Oh my God, I had no idea. I'm so sorry. Then my cousin Mark. That's really messed up. Then nothing from my parents or Melissa for almost an hour. I knew they'd seen it. The little read receipts showed up under my message, but no response. I went about my day, did laundry, cleaned the kitchen, picked Emma up from school. We went to the park. She played on the swings while I sat on a bench, phone in my pocket, feeling it buzz every few minutes but not looking. When we got home, Derek was already there. He looked at me with concern. You okay? Your phone's been going crazy. I sent a message to the family group chat. What kind of message? The truth. He kissed my forehead. Good. That evening, after Emma went to bed, I finally looked at my phone. 43 text messages. Most were private messages from extended family members I barely spoke to. Aunts and uncles and second cousins who'd apparently been added to various family chats and had seen my message spread. The responses were mixed. Some were supportive. I always thought they treated you differently. Good for you for speaking up. Your daughter deserves better. I'm proud of you. Others were critical. This is between you and your parents. Why air dirty laundry? You're being dramatic. Families fight. This isn't worth destroying relationships over. But the ones that mattered, the ones from my parents and Melissa, were silent until 10:30 that night. My mother finally responded in the group chat. I can't believe you would humiliate us like this in front of the family. We explained our situation. We didn't think you'd be this vindictive. I stared at that message. Vindictive. As if telling the truth was an attack. I typed back, I didn't humiliate you. I shared facts. If those facts make you look bad, maybe the problem isn't that I shared them. My father's message came next. You need to delete that message right now. This is unacceptable. What's unacceptable is missing your granddaughter's birthday to throw a party for a report card. I'm not deleting anything. Then Melissa, finally breaking her silence. You're just jealous. You've always been jealous that Mom and Dad are close to my kids. I'm not jealous, Melissa. I'm hurt, and I'm done pretending I'm not. The argument continued in the group chat for another 20 minutes, cousins jumping in, taking sides, the whole thing spiraling into chaos. Finally, my mother sent one last message. Fine, if that's how you want it, don't expect us to bend over backwards for you anymore. I typed back, I never did. Then I muted the group chat, put my phone down, sat in the silence of my living room and felt something I hadn't felt in years. Relief. Derek came downstairs, saw my face. You okay? Yeah, I said. I really am. The next 2 weeks were strange. Quiet. My phone still buzzed occasionally with messages from relatives, but I ignored most of them. My parents didn't contact me directly. Neither did Melissa. It was like I'd been erased. And honestly, it felt like freedom. Emma didn't notice at first. She was busy with school, with friends, with life. But about 10 days after my message, she asked, Is Grandma still mad at you? How did you know Grandma was mad? I heard you and Daddy talking. I sat down next to her on the couch. Yeah, Grandma's upset with me right now. Because of my birthday? Sort of. She was quiet for a moment. Then, I don't want you to fight because of me. Emma, listen to me. This isn't your fault. Adults are responsible for how they treat people. You didn't do anything wrong. I didn't do anything wrong. Sometimes people show you who they really are, and you have to decide if you're going to keep letting them hurt you. She leaned against me. I don't want to see them if they make you sad. You don't have to, baby. We're okay. Just us. We're okay. 3 weeks after I sent that message, early on a Tuesday morning, my mother showed up. That's where this started. 7 a.m., standing in my driveway, screaming. I opened the door but didn't step outside. You need to leave. You made me look like a monster in front of the entire family. I told the truth. If that made you look like a monster, maybe you should think about why. We raised you. We gave you everything. And this is how you repay us? You didn't give me everything, Mom. You gave Melissa everything. You gave her your time, your attention, your pride. You gave me leftovers. That's not true. It is true. And I'm done pretending it's not. Emma is 8 years old, and she already knows you don't care about her the way you care about Melissa's kids. I won't let you do to her what you did to me. My mother's face was red, tears streaming down her cheeks, but I couldn't tell if they were from anger or sadness. You're keeping our granddaughter from us. No, Mom, you kept yourself from her. Every time you chose not to show up. Every time you made an excuse. Every time you posted photos of Melissa's kids and ignored mine, you made that choice. Over and over. I'm just finally acknowledging it. Your father wants to talk to you. Then he can call me like an adult instead of sending you to scream at me in my driveway. She stood there, shaking, for a long moment. Then she said, quietly, You're just like I was. Always so angry, always so difficult. Maybe that's because I learned from you that standing up for yourself makes you difficult, but I'd rather be difficult than let my daughter grow up thinking she's not worth showing up for. My mother turned and walked back to her car. She didn't say goodbye. She got in, slammed the door, and drove away. I stood in my doorway and watched her go. My neighbor, Mrs. Chen, was out getting her newspaper. She waved awkwardly. I waved back. Inside, Emma was at the top of the stairs in her pajamas. Was that Grandma? Yeah. Is she still mad? Yeah. Are you sad? I walked up the stairs and hugged her. No, baby, I'm not sad. I'm okay. And I was. For the first time in years, I really was. The months that followed were quiet. My parents didn't reach out. Neither did Melissa. A few relatives stayed in touch, but most sided with my parents or just stayed out of it entirely. I didn't push. I didn't try to fix it. I just lived my life. Emma thrived. Without the weight of waiting for grandparents who wouldn't show up, without the confusion of wondering why she wasn't enough, she blossomed. Her teacher sent home a note in January saying Emma had been chosen to help tutor younger students in reading. In February, she made the school's honor roll herself. We celebrated with ice cream and a movie night. Just the three of us. It was perfect. In March, my cousin Rachel called. I just wanted you to know. A lot of us see it now, the way they treated you. I'm sorry we didn't say anything before. It's okay. It's not, but thank you for saying that. How's Emma? She's great. Really great. Good. She deserves that. So do you. In April, spring break came. Melissa posted photos of my parents taking her kids to Disney World. A whole week at the park. Character meals, matching t-shirts, the works. I saw the posts and felt nothing. No anger, no sadness. Just a distant observation, like watching strangers live their lives. Emma saw the photos too. She was scrolling on my phone, looking at pictures of her friend's birthday party when she stumbled across them. She looked at them for a moment, then handed me back my phone. They look happy, she said, simply. They do. I'm happy too. Are you? Yeah, Em. I really am. She smiled and went back to her coloring book, and I realized she meant it. She wasn't waiting anymore. She wasn't wondering. She'd moved on. By summer, we'd built a new normal. Derek's parents, who lived 3 hours away in Virginia, started visiting more often. They'd always been kind, but now they stepped in more intentionally. They came to Emma's softball games. They FaceTimed every week. They sent cards and care packages. Emma called them Nana and Pop Pop, and when she talked about grandparents, she meant them. In June, Emma's school had an end-of-year celebration. Parents, grandparents, and family were invited. Derek's parents drove down. Emma gave a little speech as part of the honor roll recognition. She thanked her teachers, her friends, her parents, and then she said, "And thank you to Nana and Pop Pop for always being there." I looked over at them. Derek's mother was crying, his father was beaming, and I felt grateful, not for what I'd lost, but for what we'd found. In July, I got a text from my mother, the first direct message in 8 months. "I miss Emma. Can we talk?" I stared at it for a long time. Part of me wanted to respond immediately, to say yes, to try again. But a bigger part of me remembered Emma's face on her 8th birthday, watching the driveway. Remembered the years of excuses and broken promises. Remembered the Instagram post of Sarah's party. I typed back, "I'm not interested in talking unless you're ready to acknowledge how your actions hurt Emma and me. I'm not interested in sweeping this under the rug or pretending it didn't happen. If you want a relationship with Emma, it needs to be real and consistent, not just when it's convenient for you." She didn't respond. 2 weeks later, my father called. I let it go to voicemail. He left a message. "Your mother's been upset. We think you're being unreasonable, but we're willing to let this go if you apologize for embarrassing us, and we can all move forward." I deleted the voicemail. In August, we took Emma on vacation to the beach, just the 3 of us. We built sandcastles and collected shells and stayed up late eating ice cream and watching the stars. One night, sitting on the porch of our rental house, Emma said, "This is my favorite summer ever." "Yeah? Yeah, it feels like we're free." I didn't ask what she meant. I knew. By September, when Emma started 3rd grade, the whole situation with my parents felt like a distant memory. It wasn't that I'd forgotten, it was that I'd healed. I'd stopped waiting for them to change, stopped hoping they'd apologize, stopped carrying the weight of their choices. Emma made new friends. She joined art club. She started talking about what she wanted to be when she grew up. Astronaut one week, veterinarian the next, teacher after that. She was confident, joyful, secure, everything I'd wanted for her. In October, a year after Emma's 8th birthday, we threw her 9th birthday party. Same house, same backyard, but different. Bigger, more friends. Derek's parents came down and stayed the whole weekend. My cousin Rachel drove over with her kids. A few neighbors joined. It was loud and chaotic and full of love. That night, after everyone left, Emma hugged me tight. "Best birthday ever." Better than last year? Way better. Last year I was sad. This year I'm not. What changed? She thought about it. Last year I was waiting for people who didn't come. This year I was with people who wanted to be here. I hugged her tighter. "You're so smart, you know that?" "I get it from you." In November, the holidays approached. Thanksgiving, Christmas. The times of year that used to fill me with dread, wondering if my parents would show up, preparing Emma for disappointment, making excuses. But this year was different. We made plans with Derek's family. We volunteered at a food bank on Thanksgiving morning. We started our own traditions. On Thanksgiving Day, as we sat around Derek's parents' table, Emma said grace. "Thank you for this food and this family and for people who show up." Everyone said amen, and I thought about my mother's Facebook post from a year ago. "Family is everything," she'd written. And she was right. Family is everything. But family isn't just blood. It's the people who choose you, who show up, who see you. In December, Christmas came and went. No gifts from my parents, no calls, no texts. Emma didn't mention them. We had our own celebration, full and joyful and complete. On New Year's Eve, Derek and I stayed up after Emma went to bed. We sat on the couch with champagne, reflecting on the year. "You did the right thing," he said. "I know. Emma's happier." "I know. Are you happier?" I thought about it, about the weight I'd carried for years, the constant low-grade anxiety of managing my parents' feelings, the exhaustion of explaining their behavior, the guilt of never being enough. "Yeah," I said. "I really am." We didn't make resolutions. We didn't need to. We'd already made the biggest change we needed. We'd chosen peace over performance. We'd chosen presence over obligation. We'd chosen truth over pretense. In January, I got a message from Melissa. "Mom's in the hospital. Heart problems. Thought you should know." I stared at the message, felt the old pull of guilt, of duty, of family obligation. Then I remembered Emma asking if Grandma loved Sarah more, remembered the balloons, remembered my mother screaming in my driveway that I was difficult and ungrateful. I typed back, "I hope she recovers." That's all. No offer to visit, no dramatic statement, just a simple wish and nothing more. Melissa didn't respond. My mother recovered. I know because Rachel told me. She's doing better, asking about you. That's good. Are you going to reach out? No. Why not? Because I've learned that people show you who they are. And believing them isn't cruel. It's honest. My mother showed me for 30 years that I wasn't a priority. I finally believed her. That's not on me. Rachel was quiet for a moment. That makes sense. In February, Emma brought home a school project. Family tree. She'd drawn it carefully, with markers and colored pencils. At the top were me and Derek. Below us was her, with her dog Biscuit drawn next to her. On the sides were Derek's parents, labeled Nana and Pop Pop. Further out were cousins, aunts, uncles from Derek's side. My parents weren't on it. You know you can put whoever you want on here, but you can include your other grandparents too if you want. She looked at the tree, then at me. They're not really part of our family though, are they? They're related to us by blood. But Nana and Pop Pop are the ones who come to my stuff and call me and send me letters. That's more like family. I couldn't argue with that. You're right, baby. You're absolutely right. She smiled and added more decorations to her tree, little hearts and stars around the people who mattered. And that was it. That was the ending. Not dramatic, not a big confrontation or reconciliation, just a quiet choosing, a deliberate building of the life we wanted instead of accepting the one we were given. Sometimes peace costs you a family, but I learned that keeping a toxic family costs you yourself, and between those two options, the choice was clear. We gained space. We gained clarity. We gained freedom. We gained the ability to show Emma what healthy love looks like, what boundaries mean, what self-respect requires. And in return, we lost nothing that was ever really ours to begin with.